Our cover story this week is about Balochistan. If you're wondering why, well, it's because people there, the Baloch as they are called, are up in arms against the government of Pakistan. Now, the Baloch insurgency has been around for more than 7 decades, but it is taking a very serious turn. Now, Sunday, 25th August, 39 people are killed when a Baloch outfit attacks police stations, railway lines and highways in a coordinated manner. 34 more people are killed in retaliation by the Pakistani forces. The 34 included Pakistani security personnel and attackers. Now, this happened in the country's southwestern province of Balochistan. The attacks continued through the night and into the next day, that is 26th of August. Now, these are by far the most violent killings that have been carried out in recent years by ethnic Baloch separatists, as the Pakistani state calls them. An armed group called the Baloch Liberation Army claimed responsibility for the killings. It says that the attacks were codenamed Haroof, meaning dark, windy storm. Now, that is the story so far, but that is far from the whole story. What I'm about to tell you is a story of a people who have been systematically, clinically and brazenly exploited and discriminated against. This is the story of the Baloch, tortured by Pakistan's Punjabi army, looted by China's communists and hated by Iran's clerics. This is the story of Balochistan, where anti-Punjabi, anti-Pakistan and anti-China sentiments converge. Allegations are flying thick and fast. Pakistan claims that all the dead were civilians, but the BLA says they were all Pakistani security personnel dressed in civilian clothes. Now, whether they were civilians or not is a moot point. But what is not disputed is that almost all the people who were killed were Punjabis, the name given to the people who hail from the Pakistani province of Punjab. I'll talk about this Punjabi connection in just a bit, but two more things stand out. One, the timing of the attacks, and two, the role of women suicide bombers. Now, the attacks coincided with the death anniversary of a Baloch leader, Akbar Bukhti. Bukhti was killed by Pakistan's security forces in 2006 when General Pervez Musharraf was in power. Bukhti's killing fueled the fifth and fiercest round of insurgency in Balochistan, and it continues to this day. The 4 previous insurgencies took place in 1948, 1958, 1968 and 1973. The attacks also coincided with a visit to Pakistan by General Lee Chow-ming, the commander of the People's Liberation Army ground forces. The Chinese general called on Pakistan's president and prime minister and also held talks with Pakistan's army chief, General Asim Munir. Pakistan confers the Nishan-e-Imtiyaz, one of its top honors, on the Chinese general. The BLA says a woman from the southern port district of Gwadar was involved in a suicide attack on a paramilitary base in Bela. The Chief Minister of Balochistan province is reported to have said that 3 people had been killed at the base. Now, the Baloch versus Punjabi ethnic fault line threatens to snowball into a wider conflict, one that could potentially have disastrous consequences for Pakistan and the region at large. Now, the Punjabis are the largest of the 6 main ethnic groups in Pakistan. They dominate the military and other arms of the Pakistani state. The real estate in Balochistan is exploited by the rich landed gentry from Lahore and other cities in the Punjab province. Simply put, the Punjabis are well entrenched in the Pakistani society. And that is why the Baloch complain that their land has become a colony of the Punjabi elite. Mehran Murray is a Baloch activist. He lives in the UK. Murray voices a similar sentiment in an interview to a private Indian news agency, ANI.
हम हर दिन एक जिल्लत का जिंदगी गुजारते हैं at the hands of the Punjabis.
Murray blames Pakistan's Punjabi elite for supporting Chinese activity in Balochistan. He bets that Beijing will have to stop the Pakistan-China economic corridor sooner rather than later because the project does more harm than good to the locals. Now, Murray says, and I quote, "It's like setting up a chocolate factory in Gaza and expecting it to work amidst war and terror," unquote. The Baloch have other grievances too. For one, Balochistan lags the rest of Pakistan insofar as education, employment and economic development are concerned. Also, Baloch separatist groups such as the BLA say that they've been fighting for decades now for a larger share in the regional wealth of mines and minerals denied by the Pakistani government. Now, then there is the issue of enforced disappearances. The counter-terrorist department of the government is accused of carrying out abductions and arbitrary killings. Locals say that the department is notorious for its so-called death squads. They claim that what is happening to them is a genocide under the guise of targeted killings. A quick word about Balochistan and the Baloch people. Now, people of Baloch ethnicity are present in Pakistan, Iran and Afghanistan. They are Sunni Muslims. The Baloch society is organized along tribal lines. The Marri, Mengal and Bukti are the more prominent tribes. Balochistan borders Iran and Afghanistan. It has a long Arabian Sea coastline in the south, not far from the oil shipping lane in the Strait of Hormuz. Balochistan is the largest province of Pakistan. It forms about 45% of Pakistan's total area. It is the richest province in terms of mineral wealth, but it is the least developed of the 4 provinces of Pakistan. And it has the lowest per capita income in the country. The irony is, Balochistan contributes heavily to Pakistan's GDP, but does not get a fair share of revenue. The province is home to key mining projects. The Reko Deek mine is famous for its gold and copper reserves. It's believed to have the world's 5th largest gold deposit. A Canada-based company called Barrick Gold operates the Reko Deek mine. Sui in Balochistan is Pakistan's largest gas field, but the gas it produces benefits the Punjab province. Now, besides their dislike for the Punjabis, the Baloch have an animus towards China. Why? Because Balochistan is home to major China-led projects such as a port and a gold and copper mine. Now, China has invested $65 billion in the China-Pakistan economic corridor that passes through Balochistan and terminates at the Gwadar port, which the locals say does not benefit them. The Chinese have also monopolized fishing in the area. Baloch groups have attacked Chinese interests and citizens in the province and elsewhere in Pakistan. For instance, on 26 March 2024, a suicide bomber killed at least 5 Chinese engineers working on a hydropower project in neighboring Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province.
China, you came here without our consent, supported our enemies, helped Pakistani military in wiping our villages. But now it's our turn. Baloch Liberation Army guarantees you that CPAC will fail miserably on Baloch land.
Now, besides China, there's another country that makes the Baloch anxious, Iran. The Baloch are present in large numbers in an Iranian province called Sistan and Balochistan. Now, this province suffers from neglect too, much like Balochistan in Pakistan. The ethnic Baloch population of Iran feels discriminated against by the majority Shia population. However, Iran fears that the Baloch are supported by elements in Pakistan. For instance, the Jaish-ul-Adl, meaning Army of Justice, which is a Baloch group active in the area. So we've discussed about China and Iran. What about the West? Well, the West has taken a particular stance on the issue. The U.S. State Department has not commented on the continued repression and persecution of the Baloch, but its Bureau of South and Central Asian Affairs has posted a message on X. It reads, and I quote, "The United States strongly condemns the multiple attacks in Pakistan's Balochistan province, which took many lives. Any violence disrupting peace and stability is indefensible. We stand with Pakistan in its fight against terrorism, and we send our deepest condolences to those who lost their loved ones," unquote. Now, just so you know, the U.S. has designated the Baloch Liberation Army as a terror group. Now, this lack of support or understanding does not deter the Baloch. They remain optimistic. Dawn newspaper of Pakistan quotes the late Baloch leader Akbar Bukhti's son Jamil as saying that he sees his father's mission advancing, what with the daughters of Balochistan now stepping forward to strengthen their movement. And Mehrang Baloch is a good example of just that. 31 years old, medical doctor, and the face of Baloch struggle.
You have been kept silent from decades on Baloch genocide. You have been a facilitator on Baloch genocide. Baloch has been facing systemic genocide from decades, where thousands of Balochs are enforcedly disappeared, and while thousands have been killed by the state of Pakistan. And you keep your silence. You have kept your silence against these genocidal policies. Look at those people. These all are the victims of Pakistani state atrocities. They all want you to act upon your human rights. If there is a humanity left in this world, then you must come and intervene. You must ask the terrorist state of Pakistan that how they are exploiting Baloch resources, how they are killing the innocent Baloch people, how they have deprived us on our fundamental rights.
आप फलस्तीन में इसराइल की मज़म्मत करते हो, लेकिन जो यजीदियत आपकी फोर्सेस ने बलूचिस्तान में मचाई है उसकी मज़म्मत क्यों नहीं करते हो?
Now, Mehrang Baloch heads the Baloch Yakjethi Committee. It's a human rights organization that was set up in 2020. Yakjethi means unity or solidarity. In July 2024, the BYC organized a national gathering called the Baloch Raji Muchi in Gwadar. In December 2023, it organized a Baloch Long March, a 1,600-kilometer long peaceful protest from Turbath in Balochistan to Pakistan's capital Islamabad to demand justice for the extrajudicial killings and enforce disappearances of Baloch people. 400 Baloch protesters, half of them women and children, held a month-long sit-in outside the National Press Club of Islamabad to demand justice for their missing and murdered family members. Clearly, the Baloch have had enough. They are in no mood to put up with mistreatment and humiliation any longer.
बलोच लड़ता है, बोलता है ये दहशतगर्द है. बलोच रोता है, बोलता है ये बुज़दिल है. बलोच मांगता है, बोलता है ये भिखारी है. बलोच किधर जाके क्या करे जी?
All of which raises certain questions. One, where does the Baloch agitation go from here? Two, will the Baloch unrest gain enough critical mass to challenge the Pakistani state? Can the US jettison Pakistan? Is Pakistan too big to fail, as some in China would like to believe? Will the West change its attitude towards the Baloch? How should India view the developments in Balochistan? And last but not the least, what if Pakistan implodes under the weight of its contradictions? Now, that said, asking questions is the easy part. Finding the answers will be much more difficult. I leave you with Mehran Murray's parting shot.
We have our dignity as well. We have self-respect. Koi support kare ya na kare, Baloch will stand up for themselves.
Now, that's yet another point to ponder, isn't it? Right, so that was all about the unrest in Balochistan. Now to our weekly poll where you, the viewer, get to have your say. We're asking you, are the grievances of the Baloch people justified? Yes or no? What do you think? I repeat, are the grievances of the Baloch people justified? Yes or no? Tell us what you think. You can post your replies on our social media accounts on Facebook, X and Instagram. We'd love to hear from you. And now to the result of last week's poll. We'd asked you, like the Philippines, do you think more ASEAN countries should stand up to China? Yes or no? An overwhelming 90% say yes, more ASEAN countries should take a leaf out of the Philippines' book and stand up to China. Only 10% say no. Thank you for letting us know what you think. Appreciate it.